I'd like to call to order the Germantown School District Personnel Committee. This is August 5th, 2025 at 5:47. First order of business is roll call. Brown here, Higginbotham,
Here.
Pollock.
Here.
Next item is agenda revisions and approval. I'll look for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the revisions, agenda revisions and approval.
Second.
Okay. Any conversation? Nope. Hearing none, that passes.
Nope, we gotta vote.
Oh, did.
It could pass.
Hope it
No
does.
conversation, I said no pass. Hearing no conversation, we'll take a vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that passes. I'll look for a motion on the approval of the June 9th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Move to approve the June 9th, 2025 meeting minutes.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Any conversation, any discussion? Take a vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Hearing none, that passes. We'll move to item number 5, reports and updates. It is my pleasure to introduce for the first time on our committee, Martine Castro, our Director of Human Resources.
Thank you. Alrighty, so the first one here is, once again, pretty much a standard one here is teacher resignations. So I want to give you guys a quick update on that. So to date, we have 3 resignations that are currently have been submitted. One is our family and consumer education one. That was Abby. Abby was set to start this coming fall, so she wasn't officially here yet, but she accepted a similar position, actually the exact same position, closer to home. So she was going to be driving in a decent amount of time. So that was one of those where you wish we could have had that secured, but those things happen. Obviously, location and family is important too. So we respect that. The second one, Jennifer, she's been a math teacher here, as you can see, since 2013. So she's been at the high school for quite a while. This is a career opportunity, so a career advancement opportunity. She is going to be taking on like an instructional coaching type position in another system. So once again, one of those opportunities where it's sad to see people leave, but when they have the opportunity for advancement in their career to better themselves as well, I think it's something we have to celebrate for them. So, and then the last one is Nick Ford. So this is another one. He was set to be starting with us this coming fall in special education at the high school. He is actually leaving education. So it was one of those situations where he was going to be driving in a little bit further too, but an opportunity popped up for to better him and his family. So he's actually leaving education altogether. One of those things where we wish we would have kind of had a heads up as we were going through that interview process in the spring, but one of those unfortunate ones. So even though we have these 3 resignations, they're all ones that you kind of look at and you say, good for you. Like, it's good for you and your family. So it's just one of those type of times in the year. Any questions about that one?
Not for, you explained, I saw that they were going to begin, so
Yeah.
it was hires that occurred. So do they face any of this?
Yep, all 3 of them do.
Okay.
Yeah, so since they already, they signed, you guys approved those contracts obviously earlier. So yeah, they each face certain penalties based off of, or liquidated damages based off of when
Sure.
they submitted.
Okay.
Okay, conversation over. That was for information purposes only. We'll move to item B, which is teacher contracts.
Yeah, so this one I left in there. I wasn't sure to leave it in there if there was nothing on there or not, so I just left it in there because I also didn't want you guys to think I forgot to add it in there. So it's more so a placeholder. We do have a few that were in the works with some negotiation pieces, so obviously those we'd be bringing to the board on the 19th, but left it there more so you guys knew I did not forget that.
Very good. We will move on to item C. Is there a question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So obviously these came up fairly quickly.
Yep.
Where are we at as far as, do we have other candidates? Do we, that we had
For the resignations?
Yeah.
Yes. So for that family and consumer science teaching position, I called it FACE, but I know I'm supposed to call it by its full name. That position, we have been aggressively recruiting. I actually reached out to almost every single technical college, because you can also do experience-based licensures. And I reached out to all their like foods programs to see if they had anybody in their network. We are also targeting a retired FACE teacher. We're in a unique situation where we have some potential candidates internal that are student teaching that would be starting second semester. So we want to try to see, could that unfold for us? So we feel pretty good about that one. That one has actually been a little more difficult trying to find a replacement for than I initially thought we would have, but we've been pulling every potential avenue for that one. For the math one, we have interviews actually set up for Thursday. So we have 5 candidates that we're bringing in. We feel pretty confident we'll find a solid teacher for that. And then special education, we have 2 interviews set up, screener interviews for Wednesday, so for tomorrow.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
We're moving right along with them.
There you are, thank you.
Any other questions? Move along to staffing update then. Let's see.
Yeah, so just a staffing update. I know this has been a standard practice. I might have changed the format a little bit below. I really wanted to break down some of those groups for you so you can see them clearly. The first part here is just some bullet points of some of those positions that we're actively looking to fill. So we have that special education position at Kennedy Middle School still that we're interviewing for. We did have a candidate that we did go after. We did provide a very competitive offer. She ended up accepting another position in another district because obviously financially, but we want to make sure that we're not offsetting our internal comps. We want to make sure that we're honoring what our system brings versus what other systems can provide. So one of those where it's unfortunate, but once again, we're actively pursuing that. We have a few interviews for that one as well. The family and consumer education one, I already gave you that update. The part-time music, so this has actually been a position that was posted over the whole past year. We had a music teacher at the elementary take on an overload last year, so those are some of the strategies we'll use if we can't find someone to fill that position. We started using Indeed this year, so obviously we have Weekend. Weekend's your standard place where most people are going to apply on, but yes, you also have other platforms as well. So we leveraged Indeed, and in a matter of 19 days, we were able to generate another pool of 8 candidates, and was able to find someone that we are moving forward with. So we were pretty happy with that because that was something they couldn't fill all last year. So that was an exciting, we're in that process with that one. The Spanish one, that's another one that we're in the works with, just got a contract out, so doing that part, we feel pretty good about that. So by the time we get to the 19th, the majority of these should be filled. Any questions about those classroom teacher ones? One I didn't add on there because it's technically not under certified staff is that Dean of Students position as well. We had 35 candidates for that, so that was exciting. We screened 5 last week, brought in 2 finalists, Monday, yesterday, and we're in the works with moving forward on a lot of them. So another exciting piece.
How was the Dean of Students promoted? Was it strictly Weekend, or did you use Indeed for that also?
We used Indeed as well.
Where
Yep.
did most of the candidates come from?
We had 23 that came through Weekend, and we had another 12 that came through Indeed. So is almost, some getting from Indeed. We also are starting to, I just created an account through Handshake. It's another platform that really targets college graduates. So we're starting to post on that site as well. Right now we're leveraging that in Indeed, more so the free platform, because you can post jobs. I'm starting to explore if you do the paid version, what's that marketing like and how much extra candidates are you actually pulling in from that?
And quality, I would assume, right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
They get
So-
you 100 more candidates, but none of them really make the.
Correct. And if we do any of the paid ones, based off of my own experience, leveraging Indeed, what you're going to see as we're talking about the other positions for some of our 8 positions has been an extremely effective strategy. That was the platform we used where I came from as well. You just get many more candidates. So a great example of this is at the high school, we had 2 aide positions for our 18 through 21 place, and it was really difficult to fill that all last year. We had 5 candidates that applied over the course of the year. On Indeed, we had 18 apply within 19 days, and filled them both from Indeed. So once again, just leveraging those other platforms.
Absolutely.
All right. Talking about some of the staffing updates, like I mentioned, I broke this up for special education aides, separated from professional staff, and then all other categories. So as you can see, we have a number of hires for special education. While it appears that we have 10 additional vacancies for special ed aides, we do have 5 of those currently actively where we're sending out those offers with them. So by the time we hit within the next week or so, those 5 will already be taken care of, and we have active interviews already scheduled for the others. So once again, we've leveraged, most of those are coming through Indeed. It's just been an effective strategy for us. Any questions about special education aides?
If those come through, we'll see this updated by the board meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that should be cut down into half for sure.
Fantastic.
All right, if you scroll on down, or if you look on the doc that you have. The next one is around administrative assistants. I wanted to break out this one as well. We did have 2 positions that we filled. One of them was a recent resignation for administrative assistant at the high school, but we actually hired our attendance secretary for that position. So what's really nice about that is you have that continuity, and not only do you have that continuity, Ramona brings a wealth of knowledge and skill that it's going to really help move that position just kind of to a next level. So I was actually really excited about that. I had the opportunity to sit down with her the other day, and she was just showing me all the different things she can put in place. So that's an exciting hire for us. Obviously that creates that vacancy of that position that she was in. So once again, got that posted on Weekend, got it posted on Indeed, and we'll fill that, I'm pretty confident, pretty quickly. The next one there is for under professional technical. So this vacancy is from the retirement of Jody. So that position is currently open. I do know that Nick has been starting the interview process with that. So once again, one of those spots where he's screening his applicants. We didn't post that one on Indeed. Currently he has it just through Weekend, but he also felt like he had a pretty good pool for it. So I don't think it felt as necessary with that piece. And then the last one there is under maintenance. We did have one of our maintenance technicians resign. That was George, so that's currently a vacancy that was in the last few weeks. So just one that we have to fill, and we'll work with Franklin on. Below that, I do have some of those reasons for leaving. There should be a 1 in relocation, and then there'll eventually be 2 in career advancement, and then 1 leaving education. So that's just one minor thing. I think this will be really important to monitor throughout each year, so we can see when people do resign, what reason is it, right? Is it because they're advancing? Is it family? Those type of things. So we'll continue that practice as is, unless you guys have other recommendations or thoughts on it.
Nope, I like the changes that you've made to the reporting on it. As far as the reasons leaving, those include the 2 teachers that signed the contract last spring and are not showing up this fall.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So that these 3 are the 3 from above, but it should be 1, 1, and 1. It ended up being 2, and then we have 1 other resignation that we'll be going through, which will end up being a career advancement one as well.
Okay.
So. Questions about that? Anything else you guys would like to see on the staffing update?
No, I agree. I like the new format.
Mhm.
Okay.
I like breaking it down.
And it makes it a lot easier to understand and what positions and what employee groupings.
Yeah.
That really helps.
Okay. Good.
Exit interviews?
Yeah, that will actually be on the next thing that we'll be talking about.
Oh, okay. I won't skip ahead then.
I appreciate you taking the initiative also to explore other avenues,
Yeah.
like Indeed.
Yep.
And some of these handshake and such.
Yeah, I'm excited about the handshake one. I haven't had as much experience with it, so we'll see what it really produces. But once again, it really kind of targets some of those new grads or recent grads which I think will be a nice pool to kind of pull from. So I have to figure out different tools on it. So we'll see.
Great.
Yep.
With that, we will move on to item D, onboarding and offboarding.
Yeah, so I wanted to give an update. One of the projects that I am working on is really looking at our onboarding process as well as our offboarding process. And when we think of onboarding, what I'm really trying to break it up in is to 3 very distinct phases. I look at onboarding not just you're bringing them in and doing paperwork, right? Onboarding is much bigger than that. It's much more important than that. So that phase 1 is really all about, all right, we made the offer to them. Now, what does that actual process look like when it comes to filling out their paperwork? So to date, currently, we still use they come in, they fill out the paperwork, bring it in, hand it in, right? Like all those pieces. So we're really looking at automating that piece of it to make it more convenient for the actual candidate themselves, and then also just more efficient on our end as well. A great example of why this would be beneficial, there was a candidate that was in Canada, so didn't have access to print the document up and actually sign it, so it prolonged that process. So if it's automated, obviously they would be able to pull it up on their phone and just do it right there. We're looking at the platform called Foxit. It's just a platform that you can use for e-signatures and more of those secure documents. So we're pretty excited about that. It won't be a huge financial cost as well. So we're just working on those pieces. With that onboarding though is when we hire new employees, we're also going to create an internal website, kind of like our benefits website that our staff has access to. That website will have all the steps they need to take from background check, which they'll be able to do and submit through automation, right to their physical, right to their actual paperwork. So once again, just trying to make that as efficient and user-friendly for them as well. Phase 2 is then really about that orientation. So we have a new teacher orientation coming up, but what we would love to do with that orientation is leverage a portion of it. We do this currently, like our current practice, but leverage a bigger portion of it to really go through some of the benefit pieces with the new hires and then answer any of those HR questions with them. Currently right now what we do is we meet with them all individually, which is a nice touch too. We've been able to meet with them, but being able to offer both, hey, if you want to come in and meet, we can do that, or hey, enjoy your summer. We're going to go through all these benefits when you arrive. Just kind of another opportunity for us to be more efficient with our time for them. Questions around those first 2 phases?
Do we have any bumps in the road with regards to technology as part of the onboarding process? Getting their computers and everything else, is that fairly smooth? Because it should be kind of a dotted line, if nothing else.
Yeah, so the way all that works right now is it would go through a Skyward task. So once we get them onboarded, Mary would fill out the information on Skyward, and then she would notify and assign a task to those other key pieces. So that would go to benefits, that would go to technology, and then it would go to someone who has to issue the keys. So those are task portions. I kind of wish, and we have to explore this, is can you do a task at a time? Because what I also want to avoid is they do the paperwork, we hit task, they all get it, and then maybe that candidate gets 3 emails from 3 different people. So we're trying to figure out what does that look like, because we don't want them to feel overwhelmed the second they get the offer, or they start going through the process. So, but that's notified through Skyward currently. Other questions about that? And then the third phase to that is really focused on, like I mentioned, onboarding is not just, hey, we got the paperwork done, like that's just the most basic part of onboarding. Then it's really how do we invest over the next year, really making sure we're monitoring and checking in with them throughout that first year, and probably at times beyond, because we want to make sure that they're feeling supported right off the bat. So a thing that we're going to implement on here, and you can just see it listed here, it's our 30 and 90 day check-in surveys. So what this will be is at 30 days and at 90 days, we will check in with all our new hires. So this will not just be our new hires for classroom teachers, but this will be assistants, this will be maintenance technician, this will be IT. Once again, really checking in with them. That first 30 days is focused on that early experience. How's that early experience been for you? How's that onboarding experience been for you? So really just trying to make sure they felt that they transitioned in well. At 90 days, it's really looking at, all right, you've been here for now a good 90 days. What's that integration fully like? How can we help support your growth now? Just once again, an opportunity for us to monitor how are they feeling as they get into our system, that they feel supported, so that when the spring comes, we didn't know and now they felt overwhelmed. And you're going to feel overwhelmed at times anyways, but we're actively able to then support them. Hey, I recognize you mentioned this. Let's figure out how we can help support you. Then it's also going to be leveraged as a tool to do some recruiting as well. One of the questions we will ask them is there anyone else in your network or that you've worked with that you think would be a great addition to Germantown? So we'll collect some names through that way. So when we have positions pop up, we already start generating a pool. So just some strategies we're using for onboarding.
And who's going to be responsible for doing the 30 and 90-day check-ins? The administrators, the direct?
Currently, it's going to be me. I want to be actively involved with our new hires. I look at my role kind of like a customer service. They're like my clients, right? How do I make sure that they're feeling well with that transition? So that's something that I'm going to try to leverage initially. At some point, we might roll it over to their administrators as well, but initially, I want to be heavily involved in it because I believe that's a huge part of my role.
And you'll be keeping track of the results of the 30 and 90 day if
Yep.
there's something that keeps coming up.
Yeah, you'll be able to generate themes that way as well. And I'm using both. There'll be your quantitative questions, so where it's like on a Likert scale, so we can monitor that over time, but then there's a lot of qualitative as well. So statements and questions and their actual feedback through that.
So do you think for the 30 days, obviously, because that kind of is just more over the onboarding and how you're, which would benefit you just because that's a big part of your process.
Yep.
For the 90 days, that's kind of more how their experiences in the classroom. Would you think, is there a benefit to it just being you? Would everything that the candidate would be, or the teacher would be, or employee would be more candid with you, or do you think there'd be a benefit to having the administrator or their director involved in that process?
That's a great question. I do think it would be important and beneficial for their administrator to be involved, but I also think it's important for me to know, right? Like I just, on my end, I feel like it's a very critical piece of my work. So what that looks like, maybe it's 30 days it's with me, 90 days it's with their
Well, even both of
administrator.
you on that 90 day.
Yep.
Like
yep.
30 was kind of like,
yep, yeah.
is doing your processing as
Yeah.
far as how's that going to bring
Yep.
new employees in and how they're acclimating. But I think the 90 day would be important for maybe both you and
Yeah,
their direct.
that's a great suggestion. I actually really like that. Because then it pulls them in as well, part of that conversation.
Right, and then they
'Cause
don't
it is,
feel like, and you're hearing things secondhand.
yeah.
for
And if it
maybe-
is about their growth, then it's like, hey, we're partnering together. How can we help support you?
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah, I think it's a really nice touch to start developing that and bringing that in and getting a direct line. We've heard some instances recently where I think some employees feel some information stopped in their building
Yeah.
and didn't even, let alone come to the board, but it didn't come even to this building
Yeah.
in some scenarios.
Yep.
So, and I'm not gonna get too far into it, but I think we need to make sure, I talk about it a lot, providing an avenue of upward leadership. And I think this is a part of that.
Yeah.
In a little more unique way, because we just need some honest feedback. But it provides them an opportunity outside that scope, while also allowing their building administrator, or depending on right where they're at, the director role, that they might need some of that feedback.
Yeah. Yep.
While giving them an opportunity to provide it to you also,
Yeah.
and maybe a little more comforting scenario.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see as we gather that feedback, what are those small minor adjustments we can make that may change that trajectory of what a teacher was even feeling, right? Because obviously retention is a strategy that, or something we all want, and we know it's what we want. We hired these people, we don't want to keep hiring people, so let's get them in, let's get them here for the long term, and let's just support them through that process. So,
I think your role plays a large portion of that.
Yep.
I think there's some fundamental changes that are gonna happen out of the HR office that this district's really gonna benefit from. I'm excited, and we can see some of just the basic work
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And that's nice to see, and I can just imagine where it's gonna grow from here, so we're excited.
Absolutely. And then the next part on here was that offboarding. So this goes to the exit survey that we were just mentioning in the very beginning. So the offboarding process is really going to be leveraged through a survey process with that. So that has been recommended by most of my network that I've interacted with HR. They say that's the most effective way to gather that feedback initially, with the caveat of always offering the in-person interview. You want to offer both of those opportunities, but sometimes it's more efficient that they gather it right away. And I will be someone who's not just going to do it with one category group. I want to make sure that I'm doing it with all of our groups. I was talking with our director of special or pupil services, Katie, and she was like, I really want to identify, why do some of our special ed assistants leave, right? Like, what are are there common themes, or are there not common themes? So it's just going to be a great way to really gather that insight, and once again, make some of those minor adjustments that we can then help, obviously, retain our staff. So, but yeah, that's going to be a good process.
I think it'll be important to memorialize when you make that offer, either in person or by survey. Keep track of that.
Oh yeah, yep, absolutely.
I can imagine there's scenarios you'll get a survey back, and the candidate may not have wanted to initially participate in it in person or a phone or however that would work. But given some of the information they provide, you may have a bunch of questions and,
Yep.
and reach out to them.
Yeah.
And I understand you wanted to just do a survey, but you've provided some good food for thought. I'd like to understand more
Yep.
context.
Yep.
So.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's what those are my updates. I had a lot more I could have added, but I was like, I'll save those as we unfold.
Is there anything else we've done? We don't have anything to do till 7 o'clock.
Well, I just feel the district has done a lot in order to kind of look at the needs of the employees, whether it's we've done the pay scales, we've worked on, taking a good look at that. We've, some of the benefits, some of the
Yep.
I think this is a great idea just to, and because that was always one of them too, support.
Yep.
So working at now, having them supported from the minute they walk through the door until the end, and hopefully we, start not having any of these exit surveys besides
Yep.
I'm retiring.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
our goal. So I think this is great work to just kind of
Yeah.
keep everybody feeling like we are listening, and
Yep.
that we, district does want to keep their employees here. So.
Yeah, and part of that onboarding too, when you think of those 30 and 90-day interviews or over that course of that first year, is then partnering with Jake and really identifying, all right, how does that mentoring portion, because we know that's a key strategy of retention, how do we leverage that as well? Once again, to just know ahead of time so that we can proactively support our staff.
Well, the key piece, I'm a big believer in a smooth onboarding process, because when you really think about the time and effort when there's an open position where you first click enter or submit to get that post out there, all the way through their first day, their first couple weeks,
Yep.
etc., tying in the retention, the cost, and it's not necessarily monetary, it's also time
Yep.
that is invested in the onboarding
Oh, yeah.
process. It's underappreciated as far as those first steps, because obviously we want it to go smoothly so
Yeah.
people can get up and running and go for it, but at the same time, if they don't have a good onboarding process,
Yeah.
all it takes is one little knock on the door and people are like, well, this really kind of stunk
Yeah.
getting on board, and I'm still having issues and this, that, and the other. It's such a key piece
Yep.
when we're welcoming new employees,
Yeah.
no matter what where they happen to be as far as their employment within the
Yeah,
district.
one simple adjustment that I even made is after our board meeting in July, after you guys approved the contracts, I individually emailed each of those teachers to let them know, hey, you were officially approved, we're super excited, attaching the principal on and having that communication as well. So, yeah, I would agree. There's the time that we put into them, it's a lot of time, so.
Fantastic. Any other questions on onboarding, offboarding? We will move on to item 6 then, unfinished business. We have none. Item 7, we have no new business. So I will look for the final motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a first by Mr. Pollack and a second by Ms. Higginbotham. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any abstain? Hearing none, we will adjourn. That motion will carry. We adjourn at 6:17 PM.